Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna show you how to invigorate a little bit your clay self-watering pot if it stopped working, which is something that can happen apparently. Some viewers have told me about it and I am noticing it as well. The way these self-watering pots work revolves around the unglazed clay pot you have inside, which is very wicking and can transport water from outside it inside to the medium. However, after a while, it just seems to stop working. Whether it's salt buildup or maybe particles of soil are actually clogging up the pores, I'm not entirely sure. It might have to do with the actual type of clay used. Whatever the case might be, I'm going to show you a fix which will 100% fix the problem forever. It is permanent. Once we do this, we cannot undo it. So do please keep that in mind. So with that said, let me show you what I mean. So what we will do is actually drill a hole through the interior pot. This is the exterior mask. This one is glazed and will not let water seep out. This one is unglazed. So we will drill a hole straight through the bottom of this pot. To do this, I used a hand drill and also some drill bits. Now, ideally, you would want to use diamond tip drill bits. I didn't have any around and I was impatient, so what I used are drills made for stone. They will do the job as well, but they're not as fast as diamond drill bits. However, they might be more available to you. I strongly recommend that you use a towel or a cloth that you don't care much about under the pot to avoid scratching and even damaging the rim of the pot. I also strongly recommend you pour a little bit of water on the bottom of the pot where you will be drilling, and in this way you will avoid all sorts of clay dust in the air and also overheating of the drill bit. Since the pot was not glazed, it was easy to find an anchor point, so my drill bit didn't slide around too much. And slowly and surely, we started to drill. And actually, this took a few minutes. I'm gonna spare you the footage, but at some point, I managed to get through. So now we have a pot which has a drainage hole. In order to make it self-watering, we need a wick. For the wick, you need a synthetic fiber. I'm using polypropylene string, but you can use microfiber as well, and this is because it will not degrade in time. If you're gonna try to use organic fibers such as cotton, you will find that it rots pretty fast. So what I will do is cut a length from my pretty untidy spool, but hey, after so many uses, it's bound to look a little wild. And to avoid this frailing at the edges, I am going to burn it. Since this is a plastic type fiber, it will just melt. Now, this is not the only way to seal up these ends. You can definitely use hot glue, and that's a safer method. And actually, if you don't really know what type of material you have, I do suggest you go for the hot glue, because some materials simply catch fire and it might get out of hand, so you don't really need a flame. Next, I'm going to feed this string through the drainage hole that I created, and I actually want the wick to have as much contact surface with the medium as possible. So I like to swirl it a little bit on the bottom here, maybe even a little bit more, and this will make wicking so much more efficient. And hey presto, your self-watering pot is usable again. As I was saying, this method is permanent. Once we drill the hole, we cannot undrill it, so be sure you want to do this. And also, if at some point you get a little tired of self-watering, you can absolutely remove the wick and use this as a normal pot and the mask as simply a dish to catch the water, because if you measure the distance between the pot and the actual mask pot, you can see it is quite raised on top, so you can definitely use it as a normal pot with a beautiful mask around it. Now, this will be a little bit besides the point, but hey, since we're here, here's another tip for you. If you're not entirely sure if you want to commit to the self-watering life, you can actually do a trial run. Get whatever plastic pot of your choosing, which fits inside, and feed the wick through one of the drainage holes in the plastic pot. Put your plant inside the plastic pot, and then the other end feed it through the hole you just drilled so that it actually has contact with the reservoir. But in fact, your plant will not be potted in the terracotta pot, but in the plastic pot. Especially when it comes to orchids, removing them from terracotta pots can be slightly more difficult than plastic because their roots tend to attach pretty badly to very textured surfaces. And I see that this is a very textured surface. So maybe this technique will actually save you a little bit of trouble when you have to repot your orchid, and still you'll have a self-watering pot, which bonus will be airy, will look very pretty, and will not pose so many issues when you will try to remove the orchid from inside it. It's really all about being creative. So if you find any other type of uses for this particular pot, as long as it works, everything is okay. Now, before I let you go, I wanted to address a few more ideas. For the wick, you need a fiber which is actually wicking. There are fibers which simply do not draw up water. So in order to test it, what you need to do is place one of the ends on a tissue paper or paper towel and the other end in water. Let it be, and at some point you will see the paper starting to become wet. That means the string is wicking and is absolutely suitable for self-watering pots. If within an hour or two you do not see any water on your paper towel, then your wick might actually not be very suitable for this technique. Also, if you don't want to drill holes in your pots, but you do want to try and fix the issue, at least temporary, you can also try soaking this pot in a solution of 1 part water and 1 part vinegar. Or if you don't want vinegar, you can also use lemon juice. Since those are acids, they will dissolve the salt deposits, and maybe that will declog it, and maybe your pot will work again. But it's not a permanent solution, and at some point it might clog up again, especially if you cannot provide softer water. But it is definitely worth trying if you don't want to drill holes in your pots. As for these pots, they're coming from repotme.com, which I am partnered with. I received them for free last year, and I have to say I really like the look of them. But I also did discover that the wicking capacity did decrease in time. Probably the soil clogged up the pores. So I will go ahead and drill a hole in this one as well, because I absolutely want to use them. And for me, it really isn't a problem to have a drainage hole in the interior pot. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. I hope it will help you out if you ever have issues with your terracotta self-watering pots. So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like. Also, why not subscribe? I do post regular content about houseplants. And all that's left to do is wish you a great day and see you next time. Bye!